Aaron Swartz was prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Massachusetts for allegedly breaking into the computer networks at MIT. He was charged with crimes that would have carried a penalty of up to 35 years in prison and a $1 million fine, raising questions of prosecutorial zeal and I would say even misconduct. Have you looked into that particular matter and reached any conclusions?
Aaron would get into long arguments with friends where he was the one defending the system.
What are you doing?
Flicker has video now.
And they were saying, no, no, it's all broken, it's all corrupt. And he was saying, no, no, you can really make a difference. You can make change.
I am Aaron Swartz, and I'm here to listen to see the Eldred argument.
I think he was about 14, and it was just like, oh my gosh, here's this, physically a kid, intellectually a peer to everyone else in the room.
Growing up, I slowly had this process of realizing that all the things around me that people had told me were just the natural way things were, the way things always would be. They weren't natural at all. They were things that could be changed, and they were things that, more importantly, were wrong and should change. And once I realized that, there was really kind of no going back.
What was so striking about him was I had certainly met other young developers, technical folks who were programming by the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, producing substantial software by the time they were 14. But he was the only person that I met who already had awakened himself to politics.
People understand this bill is going to change the rules for the internet, not just in the United States, but around the world. There are a lot of people, a lot of powerful people, who want to clamp down on the internet. We can't let that happen.
When I last spoke to you, you yourself were in a bit of trouble yourself for a similar thing. Is that still progressing?
Yeah, it's still ongoing.
All right, then, Aaron, I'm sure you'll tell us
Aaron
about that
called
at some
me,
point in the future.
and I happened to pick up, and he said, the bad thing might be in the news tomorrow. Do you want me to tell you, or do you want to read about it in the news? And I said, well, I want you to tell me. And he said, well, I've been arrested for downloading too many academic journal articles, and they want to make an example out of me. And I was like, that's it? That's the big fuss? Really? It just doesn't sound like a very big deal. And he paused and he said, well, it's not like anybody has cancer or anything, I guess.
They decided instead of just stopping the downloads, they would try to catch the person. They put in security cameras when they did a stakeout. Those cameras got footage of Aaron going in and out of the room. Yeah, they went from 4 felony counts to 13 felony counts. For a little while, they put him in solitary confinement just to freak him out. It was like a nightmare that he kept trying to wake up from.
He got indicted in Boston. He was facing a huge number of years, and it was not just an over-indictment. He should not have been indicted at all.
The Computer-Provided Abuse Act was inspired by the movie War Games with Matthew Broderick. In this movie, a kid gets the ability through the magic of computer networks to launch a nuclear attack. Now, that's not actually possible, but apparently this movie scared Congress enough to pass the original Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. The tricky part in this is in a networked world where everybody's computer talks to everybody else, what does exceeding authorized access or unauthorized access mean? One of the most troubling strains of the law is the idea that violations of terms of service or employment contracts can be a crime.
What's happened is over the last 25 or 30 years is the Congress has expanded it 9 or 10 times. And so now it covers virtually every computer on the internet. And the problem is the Justice Department is using this expansive interpretation that actually makes pretty much every internet user a criminal.
He had basically stopped working on anything else, and the case was, in fact, taking over sort of his whole life. Many people go through life without ever having something like 2 years of total uncertainty about what your future is, 100% drain on your financial resources, and especially somebody as sensitive as Aaron.
I got a phone call late at night. I guess I got a voicemail first from one of Aaron's friends I'd never heard of, and I could tell something was wrong, and then I called and I realized what had happened, and I just thought, we've lost one of the most creative minds of our generation.
It was like the whole world fell apart at that moment.
I had never seen anything quite like the outpouring I saw. It was a silent wailing.
I've never seen people grieve on Twitter before. People were visibly grieving online.
This is touched a nerve for people everywhere who, want to change the world.
He was, in my humble opinion, one of the true extraordinary revolutionaries that this country has produced.
When we turn armed agents of the law on citizens trying to increase access to knowledge, we've broken the rule of law, we've desecrated the temple of justice. Aaron Swartz was not a criminal.
He believed that he could change the world, and he was right. Out of the last week and out of today, phoenixes are already rising.
When I heard the news that Aaron had died, I just thought, that's so wrong. And I actually emailed my staff and said, what would need to be changed in the statute so that somebody who did what he was accused of doing would not be facing 13 felonies and potential 35 years in prison.
In areas of uncertainty and change, we don't know what the right answer is. And there's a lot of people who want it to go on being as it is. And there's another set of people who are saying, we want to, as Wallace Stevens once said in a memorable phrase, search the possible for its possibleness. And that's why hackers, people who are out there on the edges, we really owe them a debt. They're out there figuring out the future.
Aaron believed that, you literally ought to be asking yourself all of the time, what is the most important thing I could be working on in the world right now? And if you're not working on that, why aren't you?
I mean, I feel very strongly that it's not enough to just live in the world as it is, to just kind of take what you're given and, follow the things that adults told you to do and that, your parents told you to do and that society tells you to do. I think you should always be questioning